So the next question I have for the panel is, what is the real benefit of support and mentorship um, for young people when they are at college and when they get their first decent job? What is the value add of having support and mentorship in those phases of a young person's life? Maybe Lance, you want to kick us off?
So the benefit of having support at that point in your life is that you have, first of all, a sounding board, someone that you could speak to quite openly about what's going on in your mind, what you're feeling, your actual real experiences of being on campus or being in class, um, and having a relationship of accountability and reciprocity is important, because you're able to to have a sense of, how can I say, not guidance, but a sense of containment when you are overwhelmed with so many different aspects of life. Having that sense of guidance from someone that genuinely and sincerely has your best interests at heart is very important. I'm not just talking about a buddy or a friend. I'm talking about someone that wants to see you succeed, someone that is genuinely invested in you being the best person that you can be. Um, so the benefits are really broad, and it can have long-term implications, because if I look at my own life, there have been a few teachers in my life that have been um, pivotal in getting me to the point where I am right now, I think. And if it had not been for those people that were kind of champions for me, I wouldn't have felt that someone believed in me, someone had faith in me, someone cared for me, and that sense of wow, someone has faith in me. It gives you the reassurance and sense of security within yourself to then motivate yourself and become more um, autonomous about why you are learning. You take ownership of your learning. You take ownership of the process and the results that of your work. Um, like if we, I think I'm always going to come back to this. If you take it for granted that you throw people into the system and you lead them to their own devices, there is the danger that we're setting them up for failure. And I really feel that not there's not enough done for youth where we are setting them up for success. So the concept of mentorship and coaching and guidance it's it can't be emphasized enough. Um, does that answer your question a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. And in school even the research shows that having one caring adult in a young person's life at school level seriously reduces their risk of dropping out of school without completing. So we know this from in-school youth, and I'm sure that the same is true for young people throughout their journey to finding and thriving adulthood, is having a champion in your corner, as you say. And I absolutely agree with you. We've been setting young people up to fail in this country. We don't acknowledge the barriers that they face, and we do very little to help them overcome those barriers. And in talking to young people, I think they often feel like it's all on them. Actually, they have to be extraordinary. They have to overcome these odds somehow, because
Yeah.
nobody's going to help them otherwise. So Kulu, maybe you want to add to that.
Yeah, because a lot of young people right now are mostly like I was the first person to graduate from home, and it's the same for millions of other young people right now. They're the first to graduate in their own homes, so the onus is mostly on us to really help our families and to take care of the people going to come behind us. So it is always great to have a support system from like teachers. A lot of people go through a lot of things at home, so to have someone to always push you and to tell you that you're doing great will always help. Because I know people who have difficult situations at home when they come to school, and to have someone who comfort them and to have a place of solace within school, it'll help them do well at school and in life in general. Because I know we like deep down inside we always have that one person who motivates us to do well, and in our heads we always have like, I want to make my mom proud, I want to make this person proud. So whenever we do things, there's always that person or those people we want to make proud. So it's always great having a support structure, having a mentor, having someone who has your back, who's motivating you to do well. Like young people, there's so many things in the working world also that we don't have knowledge of. So it's always great, even in at work, to have someone who can help you through things, like when it comes to signing contracts or negotiating salaries when you're a first time job seeker. It's always helpful to have someone with experience to help you, like, okay, to tell you that you can negotiate salaries at this level and things like that. So having a mentor is always a great thing. It does definitely help um young people like reach their full potential, and it does help us like have more knowledge of the situations we're going to, especially when it comes to work. So having mentors is really something that I think that is definitely a conversation that we should have. It's definitely something that should be talked about, and a lot of networks should be created where young people can go to be able to talk to people who have more experience and like help guide us into the working world, because there's so many things that go on that we don't know. So it'll always be great to have someone to fall back on to and get advice from.
Absolutely, Kula. I think we all really benefit from having that kind of sounding board, or just somebody to say, I'm making a good decision or a bad decision. Take a look, as you say, at this contract for me. And so maybe that's a nice segue for Jared, the more practical side of job seeking, how mentors can add value to young people in a practical way, really like navigating the steps to forming a career path, making good choices when there.
Yeah, so I think Lulu hit the nail on the head in like the last few sentences, where we often say within our own team and within our mentor cohort and within our community, you don't know what you don't know. And it's just no individual has the capacity to understand and have the foresight of exactly what their path is. But if you can collectively harness the experiences of your peers, you and the greater community, whether it's in your business or your family, you can help inform the path that you should take and the path that makes the most sense for you. So we have found in our organization that here's one example. Every time we used to hire a new individual into our team, as best we could, we would always try to hire 2 people at the same time, so that it's not just one new person entering the business, it's 2 people, and they can kind of help each other and support each other in the first few phases of entering their career. And what we're doing on Trusted Interns right now, because we've identified that there's simply too much disparity between the number of individuals who have experience and can be a mentor and the number of individuals who need mentorship from a youth point of view. It's impossible to have a one-to-one mentor relationship for all the youth in South Africa. It's probably impossible to even have a 5-to-1 ratio. And that's why it's so important to make this network where everyone can support each other. And these critical decisions that you make as you're entering into your career, the small things like the contract negotiation or the salary negotiation, or deciding what your job may be, or the different tasks and the responsibilities that you take on to help you grow towards what your greatest purpose may be. Whilst in your first job, they may not be paramount to where your career is going to be 20 years from now, but it's the start of your journey. And it's really, really important to have a culture of collaborative growth, where everybody is mindful that the future of South Africa as a greater society is very much dependent on the propensity for each individual in South Africa to succeed. So one should have everyone's best interests at heart, because if we can help Lulu have a fantastic career and to grow herself and to work in a job where she feels like she's living her purpose and her intrinsic motivation is being constantly nourished, at some point, her extrinsic motivation will follow. And that's really important. So Lance, you spoke to this quite a bit, that organizations and businesses and institutions need to understand the acute difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. And in our opinion, intrinsic always should come first. Because if an individual is working for something that feeds their purpose, ultimately the commercials will follow, and the income will follow, and they will thrive. They're in a position where they can thrive. However, it can be difficult for someone who doesn't have that social capital in their home to make those decisions to do that, as Lulu said, because of that peer pressure. So if individuals can support each other to make those right decisions and to navigate that journey with each other, then I really do think 10 to 20 years down the line, we're going to be far better off as a society.